Nigeria's politics is getting pretty interesting every day with different electioneering processes ongoing in its polity. First, it will be the delegates election slated to take place in few weeks to come. It means that all aspirants are trying to dot their I's and cross their T's ahead of the election and as well emerge as sole candidates ahead of the 2023 general elections. My name is Lillian Chidi, and I'm welcoming you today to the Think Osinbajo show, brought to you by the Osinbajo Think Tank. Today we'll be talking about the man that seemingly is preferred by Nigerians, and that is the person of Professor Yemi Osinbajo. And today joining me on the show is a HR director of a multinational company. He is Mr. Deyemi Adekola. And just before beautiful, I see him over there. Mr. Deyemi Adekola, thank you for being part of today's show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. And so today we're talking about the candidacy of Professor Yemi Osinbajo. What can you say about this man called Professor Yemi Osinbajo ahead of the 2023 presidential election?
Okay, so for me, I think having looked at the political landscape, especially as a professional, an HR practitioner, not as a politician, but as a business person. What we need in Nigeria right now is somebody who can hit the ground running and get the job done. And Osinbajo seems to be the right candidate. Having looked at the political landscape and all the candidates coming up at almost every day, you have new candidates coming up. But having looked at the area of candidates we have, I'm strongly in support of the man Osinbajo, based on what he has accomplished within the little time he had the opportunity to be there. And considering his antecedent, I think strongly that he is a man we should be looking at to deliver the mandate we're expecting as a nation.
Okay, let's take a look at the APC. So there is the crisis of confidence, between the APC and Nigerians. Do you think this will in any way affect Professor Yemi Osinbajo's ambition ahead of 2023?
I really don't think so. Of course, towards the primaries, you expect that everybody will want to get their hands and play, push their lot within whether they'll be able to win the ticket. Don't forget that we primarily have two political parties in Nigeria. It's either PDP or APC. So majorly people will probably vote for one of the candidates from the two major political parties, knowing fully well that those are the two major political parties that has a national structure that can deliver an election for you. So you will have a lot of people trying to vie for elective role on the platform of the two political parties. So I strongly believe that's basically what is happening. And it's even good for the political space. Let everybody come in and put forward what they are capable of delivering, and then Nigerians or the APC as a whole will review the strength of each candidate, and I'm sure that the delegate will vote rightly. They will put the nation first before any other personal interest and all of that. So for me, I don't see anything that would derail the candidacy of the current VP. I don't see it.
Okay, let me take you to the economy sector. And you are a voice in the private sector. I'm looking at the ease of doing business and every other thing, in the private sector. Do you think that Professor Yemi Osinbajo's presidency would actually impact positively on our current reality on the private sector?
Okay, so let's look at some of the few things he has done so far when it comes to ease of doing business. You will realize that when it comes to ease of doing business, he has really tried a lot under the within the context of what he could do under this current administration. Don't forget that when we what do you call it? The ease of doing business. There are few things we've done. He has, few policy he has pushed under the ease of doing business, which has really helped us as a nation. Don't also forget that there was a time he moved around. There was some road show to bring in some tech companies to come and invest into the country, and those road shows are beginning to yield interest. We have the likes of Facebook investing, you have the likes of Microsoft investing, you have some companies like that coming to invest in the country. So I strongly believe, knowing fully well that he also started off as a private sector, as a technocrat. He started as a private sector person before going into politics fully. So the experience within the private sector will definitely help him to navigate the terrain to ensure the ease of doing business is it's a lot more better going forward.
So I remember you talked about the caliber of candidacy paraded ahead of the primaries. What do you think stands the professor out from the array of candidates ahead of the primaries in weeks to come?
Okay, first is his person. The person of Osinbajo is number one thing we need to look at. Looking at what he stood for. Don't forget there are a lot of reform when he was when he was working with Tinubu in Lagos State as Attorney General of Lagos State. There were a lot of reform that he pushed during that period. And those were the reforms that Lagos State is basically enjoying today. Don't forget, in terms of legal legal reform within the Nigerian landscape, Lagos State is million years ahead of most other states. So, and those things were they were probably primarily riding on the foundation Professor Osinbajo built while he was the Attorney General of Lagos State. So if you look at his antecedents, then you will notice that there are a lot of things he's been able to accomplish as a private sector person and also as a political appointee under either Lagos State or even under as a vice president to the current president. So for me, looking at this person, looking at what he has accomplished over time in the political landscape, looking at his antecedent, I don't think that Nigerians have, or we need to be unduly worried whether he'll be able to deliver or not.
So let's take a look at, usually, because politics is really intense and quite deep, let's take a look at a few mistakes that professionals, who are coming into politics, who have been in politics for a while, attempt to make. And you know that because of the dynamics of Nigerian politics, it gets twisted every 4 years. You see a different twist. What advice are you putting out to the vice president ahead of the 2023 elections?
Okay, for me, what advice will I be giving to him? Some of those things I would love him to do is probably doing it because right now you see him traveling to different locations within the country to engage the stakeholders. Because really, you need the foot soldiers, you need the stakeholders, you need the West alone will not win the election for you. The Southwest alone will not win the election for you. Neither will the Southeast alone win the election. So you need the entire country to vote for you. So he's moving around the country to solicit support, to solicit for the endorsement of major stakeholders, which is for me quite interesting and welcoming. That is not just limiting his He's not assuming that because he's the vice president now, then that the ticket is given. He's consulting, he's seeking the buy-in of stakeholders, and is as much as possible engaging as many people as possible. That for me is what he needs to be doing, and that engagement, that stakeholders engagement, needs to be broadened as much as possible. And I think he's doing that already, but he needs to expand it to as much as possible. Southwest, if you look at the political voting pattern, Southwest usually has been voting majorly for PDP, but he needs to engage them to ensure that as much as possible he can get as many people from the Southeast to also endorse him and put their vote behind it. So that's what he needs to do, and that he should continue doing.
Thank you very much. We have been talking to Mr. Yemi. When we return from the break, the show will continue. You're watching the Osinbajo show. Stay with us.
INEC hereby informs the public that only Nigerians 18 years and above who have never registered to vote should register during this last phase of the ongoing continuous voter registration ending on Thursday, 30th June 2022. Those who want to transfer their voting location or replace lost or damaged voters' cards or correct their information such as spelling of names, dates of birth, etc. should not register afresh but indicate as such for action by INEC. This is to prevent double registration, as the names of persons who registered from 2011 are still valid in the Register of Voters. Previously registered voters up till December 2021 can collect their PVCs at the registration centers. Please note that online pre-registration will be suspended on Monday, 30th May 2022. This message is from the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. INEC, making your votes count, consolidating our democracy.
Thank you for joining us. If you just joined us, this is the Osinbajo show. Of course, you can join the conversation by using hashtag join the conversation on Twitter and of course on YouTube. You can also watch the recorded version with the links currently on display. All right, Mr. Yemi. Mr. Yemi is still here, and let's take a look at the primaries. It's coming in a few weeks. And you and I know that it's a hurdle every aspirant or every candidate has to go through in order to come out as the sole candidate for the party. Do you have a fear, or maybe you have a hope ahead of this primaries? You know, looking at Nigeria's landscape, you have about over 7,000 delegates set to vote in a few weeks. So what are your fears, or what do you think ahead of this primaries?
Okay, for me, I'm highly optimistic that I'm expecting the vote to go for the current VP. Maybe because my discussion with some grassroots people, some of the delegates, even some of the stakeholders in Lagos, on what they think about what the primaries will look like. So I with discussion across the board and some of the things I hear people talking about, I expect the vote to go for Nigeria, and especially the delegate, to put the interest of the nation first, and not to vote based on stomach infrastructure. For me, I think the delegates are even a lot more wiser. They're also interested in the Nigerian state as a whole. And I think everybody wants this nation to move forward. So based on that, I expect that the voting will probably go as expected. And for me, I'm expecting that the vice president will come out as the APC candidate. I don't know what will happen with PDP. I don't have so much interaction with delegates from PDP, but few delegates I've spoken with in APC. They're all looking towards the direction of the current VP, and for me, that's good.
Oh, beautiful. So let's take a look at, you are a professional. Let's take a look at your interactions with other professionals. Seemingly, it seems that they tend to tilt towards the vice president because of his professional pedigree. Do you think that professional at the grassroots level or at the mainstream are doing well to canvass support for the vice president?
Okay, so reading through the newspaper and discussing with some of my colleagues, you will realize that there are lots and lots of professional group, independent professional group that suddenly came up in support of the vice president. And for me, that is something new within the political landscape. So you are having, and I think we started having a bit of it during the last election. Many people voted for APC during the last election because of the person of the vice president. Many people wanted him to remain in the corridor of power with the hope that, okay, so maybe he can also contest for the presidency at 2023. And this is the period everybody has been looking at to say, we want to push somebody we believe in. I think many private sector driven persons are looking towards him because considering his antecedent, there seems to be a lot of faith in what he can deliver for the private sector in Nigeria, and not just for the private sector alone, but for the entire nation as a whole. So you have over 100 independent groups coming up. 2 weeks ago, I witnessed another group that started canvassing for him. They were inaugurated about 2 weeks ago, called themselves Grassroots for Osinbajo. So you have a whole lot of group coming up, and for me, that's new. I've never witnessed that in my little experience with election practices in Nigeria. So so for me, I think most private sector people are interested in. I've spoken to a lot of people in my office, within the industry where I operate in, and across even my HR practice within Nigeria. Many people wanted him because they believe he has the ability to deliver the mandate, the Nigerian vision, the Nigerian dream that we've been talking about.
Thank you very much. So in few seconds, just tell me, hopefully Professor Yemi Osinbajo, people watching the show, what word do you have for him in a close? What do you have to say to Professor Yemi Osinbajo as the primaries draw to a close?
Okay, the Nigerian professional sector, we believe in him. We are rooting for him, and we trust and believe that he will get the mandate. And then when he get the mandate, he can count on the support of the private sector in Nigeria to fully not just vote, but also to raise funds to support him.
Thank you very much. I have been speaking to a HR director of a multinational company, Mr. Yemi Adekoya. Thank you so much for being part. Adekoya, thank you so much for being part of the show. Don't forget that you can join the conversation on Think Osinbajo, hashtag Think Osinbajo. Thank you so much for being part of the show. Please join us again, same time, same station, same link on Tuesday and on Friday. My name is Lillian Chidi. Have a beautiful night rest. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
INEC hereby informs the public that only Nigerians 18 years and above who have never registered to vote should register during this last phase of the ongoing continuous voter registration ending on Thursday, 30th June 2022. Those who want to transfer their voting location or replace lost or damaged voters' cards or correct their information such as spelling of names, dates of birth, etc. should not register afresh but indicate as such for action by INEC. This is to prevent double registration, as the names of persons who registered from 2011 are still valid in the Register of Voters. Previously registered voters up till December 2021 can collect their PVCs at the registration centers. Please note that online pre-registration will be suspended on Monday, 30th May 2022. This message is from the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. INEC, making your votes count, consolidating our democracy.